the guiding. Mic off, please. Benson. Mic on. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, how's everybody feeling? Do you want to stand up and stretch a little bit, just to make sure there's blood circulating in all of your limbs? Yeah, you can do that. Does anybody have an energizer, actually? You do? Okay, great. So just stretch out. Call the rain, call the rain, call the rain, call the rain, call the rain to the right, call the rain to the left, and then tie your shoelaces, and take another deep breath, and sit down. Thank you. I'm glad that was relaxing for you. I'm very competitive, so we have to come up with the best answers, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I have some guiding questions here, but really I want this discussion to be organic. So I'd like one of you to volunteer to be the person who will present these issues when we come back. Can we have that, please, before I volunteer someone? Emmanuel, there you go. So remember, we're trying to find out, in an ideal world, what would be in the news services, or what would be part of journalism that would make young people relate to the content, right? So, Emmanuel, njoo hapa tafadhali. So these are the guiding questions, and you may discuss. If you feel like you want to bring your chairs closer, please do so, and then we can open them up when they come back. Come on, guys, don't be shy.
Where do you want to discuss?
All right, because I'm seeing that you have a notepad, the gentleman, you'll be taking notes for us. You're a de facto secretary. Yeah.
So hi, good afternoon. So we have a couple of questions here. We have about 8 questions, but we'll try and...
Sorry, you can't.
Oh yes, my name is Emmanuel Yegon from Kenya. Yes, so we have a few things to discuss here, which of course will form the basis of the presentation that we're going to make. So what type of content, like what content would you like to consume on legacy media? What content would you want to see? We've talked about the things we do not like, right? So what would you want to consume on legacy media?
Guys, we cannot be number one if we are not participating. We cannot be number one if we are not
Yes.
participating.
Yeah, you wanted to say something?
What type of content? Because we've already said what we don't want, yeah? You don't want too much death, you don't want boring stuff, you don't want disastrous stuff, so what do you want?
Would love to see infographics. Like if you're talking about Karamoja has 100,000 people, what, can we have a map and put Karamoja, the poverty levels, show us where Karamoja is, show us where this is. Because they do these things during the elections and they don't do them during the normal times of broadcast. Why should you do them selectively?
Okay, so visualization of the stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
May I have a follow-up question? Why is that so important to you?
Honestly, the laziness. Because people tell you, the text is too long, I can't read this thing. Assuming you put this thing in a graph and I look at them easily and interpret them.
Okay, I hope you've written down that point,
Please
Mr.
write that down and
Secretary.
then assist me with the mic. There. Let's start with the ladies.
The gentleman next to you in a white t-shirt. Here.
Hello. For me, I think for legacy media, I would want less about the anchor and the reporter and more about the people they're reporting about. Oftentimes, when we see stories in legacy media, they're more focused about the person anchoring the story. That's what makes the strength of the story. But I believe that's because if some rookie reporter reports the story, there's a chance it's really amazing story, but it's going to be rubbed under the carpet simply because it's not some big shot reporter. And that's the problem with our media. We put the reporters and the anchors on a higher pedestal than the stories, where you find that if this reporter does not talk about that, then it's not worth listening to.
Okay, so going back to the ground, speaking to the people who are affected by the stories
Exactly.
and removing, okay, I like
Let
that
it
point.
be more about the community that you're reporting about.
Okay, just a second, then your question.
Thank you so much. I think the content I would love
Sorry,
to...
what's your name first?
Sorry, my name is Simon Eroku. I'm from Science TV Uganda, Open Science Impact. Uganda here. The information I would like to get from legacy media is for the generation right now, if you see the communities that we live in, they've moved away from they are on online and getting content from online. So we want to know let's get some travel sort of like information that we bring, but has sort of like travel information that we can go slow. Mm-hmm. For example, if you're going to Karamoja, explain to us what Karamoja is and the poverty levels and all that, the killings and all that, but explain to it in details what has happened, the history of it in that area, so that someone has been missing the information before can be able to understand and learn what you're really talking about. The background information would really be important for someone to learn and understand the news that is being produced. Thank you.
Okay. Do you feel at the moment that news doesn't do that? It just sort of goes, okay, this is what happened, this is where it happened, and that's the end of the story?
No, what I see is the news, for example, right now, if in Karamoja, if you're giving a story about Karamoja, the killings, you just say 5 people died and we have the poverty levels in Karamoja the information is vague. We are not getting the real information. Where has it started from? Can you give a little bit of background information for the youth to understand where this came from? For us to understand where it is exactly coming from, where is it? But if you give us really vague information, it will be hard for me as a person who has just jumped on this story to understand it really. So I think for a story, if it's an old story and it is relating to what you're giving, try and give us the background information, really. It will make it more, I don't know, it will have more information and detailed information for me to understand better. Thank you.
More context?
Yeah, I think also the point is that there's a lot of assumed knowledge on the audience's part, and I really like that point. There was other points?
Yeah, we have.
Rukia.
Hee Sorry, my name is Rukia, and so my point is, I think I would love to experience a lot more of transmedia.
What is that?
So it's like you have that particular story, you have done it in your news bulletin, but one experience that I can really tell is that every time you're watching a story, those
Microphones? Just give us a second to sort out the sound issue. Your English, you can speak Luganda. We have translators here.
Check, check,
We're
check.
inclusive.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, it's back. And so, where was I? The kind of bites that they pick are meant to tell a story that they chose. But there is more to that story, and there is a lot that does not get to be seen on live news like 9 p.m. What is that more information that you got as a journalist from wherever you went to get this story that did not make it in your story? Please cut it out, put it up for me to kind of go back and watch and say, oh, this story was actually like this and like this and like this. Maybe this is where it started, but I picked a particular bite that only spoke to what I want to communicate at that particular moment. And so in my head, I'm always asking, so what happened? Like, how did we even get here? So ideally, it would be pick a sport that you think did not make it and is really important. Perhaps it wasn't important to your kind of angle that you are taking, but it is important in another angle. Provide it to me on Twitter. Just put an infographic explaining, and then perhaps a link to how that is really related.
Do you think journalists have? You want us to do the main story, give you a tweet, give you a link to all this. Okay, but I hear you. This is an idealized world we're talking about.
So it gives us the chance who actually don't even like to watch those stories to actually go back and say, oh, you did a story about this. Maybe it's something that I'm really interested in, but I did not even get a chance to watch it.
Great. Yeah.
So
yes, yes.
Did you put something down? Why?
I think we're about to demote this secretary, please. Who wants to take on the task? Thank you so much. Oh, who wants to become the new secretary? Can you?
Please do, because we cannot afford to fail.
That's strike one.
She has struggled to say her English is running out, and you didn't capture anything. Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Roneta Twine. I'm a journalist with Solutions Now Africa. I think one thing that we journalists are missing out is illustrations. He talked about infographics, but they don't work for everyone. You find out that some of our mothers or grandmothers do not understand. They can't get you when you say 60%. They can't understand you when you say doctor-to-patient ratio is maybe 1.0 or 1.4. They don't know those things. So they can't understand you when you maybe a minister of finance says we are giving maybe 40% to health, 60% to education. Those things are so complicated even though we put out them in numbers. So if it's a budget, I think I have only seen one station which is trying to do that. NBS bringing maybe bread, yeah, to tell the audience if it's 60%, then it means if you have this loaf of bread, then this is the 60%. 20% means this. That is the one thing that we journalists are missing out, and
recording in progress.
The rest of the audience.
Yeah, I like that. So simplifying the delivery. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Secretary, did you catch that? Okay.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Hello, my name, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ankunda Doric. I work with Science TV Uganda, Open Science